How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Coach, we'll start with a weekend statement and then we'll open up for questions.
Good. Pretty good weekend. No, not bad. It was awesome to see first the crowd. The crowd was absolutely amazing the whole way through from Friday through Sunday. Made a huge impact, I think, on the game Friday and Saturday in terms of the energy. I think it was the first time Florida with their freshman pitching had played in an environment like that. So I think it had a real impact, especially Friday with the freshmen on the mound. Just a lot of positive things going on. Alumni Day, having close to 70 alumni back. And I thought that we put the pieces together on Friday and Saturday. Sunday we got shut down a little bit. She threw a really, really good game against us. But overall, really happy to be able to take the series against Florida.
Coach, on Sunday, McCann obviously possibly taking a role further. Have you thought more about kind of that process, just kind of what's ahead for her, and just what has impressed you the most about her this season?
I'll start first with what her role is going to be. I anticipate that she'll be working into the mix as a starter for the SEC series. What I need to figure out is the role that Krings will then take. Because I'd like to be able to utilize, and I thought McCann was extremely effective being able to throw all 3 games. And so I don't want to lose that opportunity. So it's really trying to figure out what's going to put us in the best possible situation, because the way Sierra Harrison throws, she throws a rise ball, she's throwing mid-60s. Her stature is not like a 6'2" player. So she has to utilize the power in her body every single pitch, which is really taxing. So she went 100 pitches on Saturday. So I can see that that's where right now where her max is. So knowing that she probably won't be able to go 7 innings. So if we need to have some middle relief, who do we want with a game on the line, knowing that we can have Pinnell come in to close? I haven't put Pinnell in a situation to throw more than an inning and a half. So I don't want to put her in that. And then also I want my best pitcher in the 7th inning, and that's going to be Pinnell. So trying to figure out where are we going to bridge that gap if we run into that, if we use McCann as a starter. And will Krings fill that role? That's kind of a little uncertainty right now. What I really liked about McCann, her competitiveness. She went out there looking like a veteran pitcher and had just unbelievable composure, didn't try to do too much, kept them off balance, really spun the ball nicely. Watching video over yesterday from the past 3 games, just really moved the ball extremely well. So they weren't able to square it up. And I think the biggest thing is our ability to really keep them off balance. Like I felt like Florida wasn't able to sit on a certain pitch, like they were guessing throughout the entire 3-game series.
Coach, I talked about how there was a vast difference between Lawrence bullpen outings and her starts. Obviously, notwithstanding when you come into the game, what are the key differences between a bullpen outing and a start? And what does Lauren need to do to translate the bullpen outings to her start?
Yeah, I wish I knew because we wouldn't be in this situation right now. And her last couple weeks in her bullpen outings, and a lot of it's like I'm putting them in situations and I give them consequences if they throw the ball dead red, and I'm able to put devices in the middle of home plate, so it becomes really obvious when they throw the ball over the heart of the plate, and if they hit it, they have a consequence, which is like a burpee or a sprint or something like that. So putting that in the back of their mind, the concentration is a little bit greater because they don't want to do burpees and they don't want to do those sprints. But taking that same mindset to a game, and a game should probably be more like there's more at stake. And I'm not able to connect enough with Krings to get her to have that same level of concentration. And it could be the crowd, it could be just her mentality. Her entire life has kind of been to throw. And that's where I'm kind of playing around with, do I let her be who she naturally is? And it kind of reminds me of like Paige Lowry when she went to Oklahoma. She was a starter before she went to Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma used her in a relief role, just come in and throw hard. And maybe that's where Krings is going to be the best. So it's kind of figuring out to let that horse run, if that makes sense, to allow her to be at her best and her strength, because maybe her strength isn't spinning it and having pinpoint control. She's never been in the situation where she's been the number 1. And, you know, we had Jordan Weber for her entire 4-year career. So maybe it's getting Krings is a little bit outside of her comfort zone, and we got to get her where we can really maximize what her potential is.
Well, we're on the subject of pitching Krings. Obviously, you face a very talented Georgia team this weekend, leads the SEC in home runs, but Krings' weakness has been when she leads the ball on the plate. It's been hard with home runs. Have you thought about that matchup at all in this weekend?
I mean, Florida was pretty similar. I mean, a lot of offensive power in their lineup too. And I mean, we spell it out. Like 3 of our pitchers, Krings, Harrison, and McCann, they throw the ball up in the zone. They're rise ball pitchers, and the ball is going to be hit out when you leave the ball up. We got to keep it off the plate. And with Krings, the velocity that she throws, all you really have to do is get the barrel on the ball, and it's going to travel. So she does have to work the outside a little bit more. And get the whole ball off the plate. But I mean, yeah, it's always a factor. And I was just kind of breaking down some stats, and I think the most obvious, and you bring it up all the time, is our leadoff batters. Like, we let too many leadoff batters on base, and when we give up home runs, we would much rather have them solo shots than double digits and, you know, 2 and 3 run home runs, because those are a little tougher to come back from. So I mean, it's always a factor. It always comes into play. It's something I'm always constantly thinking about, is how can we attack these hitters and what is the best matchup?
Taylor Fennell's kind of obviously stepped on another stage this season with 8 saves. I think their save record's 15. So although it's like 10 games, so it's tough to possibly get there. But just what has impressed you so much about her ability to come in those close situations, just get the job done consistently?
It's really, it's cool to see. I mean, she's a sophomore, and she's embraced that role from day one, stepping foot here on campus, and she loves it. She loves coming out of the bullpen. She wants the game on the line. She wants the crowd. She wants the energy. She wants to finish it. And that's a tough mentality. And again, that's why major league closers make so much money, is because it's really hard to do. And there's been a couple situations that I probably could have brought her in, but I want McCann to experience that 7th inning rush as well, because we're obviously going to build our program around her, and the same thing with Harrison. But I can't say enough about Pennell. Like, she has the ability to be able to lock in and be determined and be focused. And her and I have a really cool connection where she's like, all I need to look at you, and if you just give me this, I just lock in onto that batter and I know what I need to do. And it's great, because when she can dial in for 1 inning and we just want to get 3 outs, that's what she's putting all her energy towards.
There are a lot of times this season where let your starter they can run the little bit for the out of complete curiosity, go out for a minute, visit that first or second out visit. What do you makes a good productive out visit from what you tell the pitcher, the team, their team's response, and most important, how response?
You know, and I think that's really what's a value, being a head coach and also the pitching coach, because I'm in the bullpen every single day. I work with them every single day. So my relationship with them is very personal. I'm not just a manager that's just going out and, you know, just throwing stuff out there. So every situation I go out there, it all depends. It depends on the situation. And sometimes it's just to change momentum. And my conversations are, hey, I'm just trying to break up momentum here. Like for instance, with McCann on Friday, she had 2 outs. The crowd got to their feet. They were very loud. She gave up a base hit to Wallace, and I just went out there and I said, I'm just disrupting momentum. I said, just enjoy this moment and take it all in, and just let's attack that next hitter. So each individual moment's different. Sometimes it's just, hey, you're a little bit out of time. Let's speed up your arm circle. And other times is the ball's too on the plate. You got to get off the plate. You got to work the corners. They're really aggressive right now. Let's get them to swing at balls. It's okay if you throw ball 1. So every situation is going to be different. But I think the value is that I see them every single day. I work with them. I know if they're tired. I know what's falling apart, because I work with them.
Sorry, Coach. Alex Arnold, 255 hitting in SEC play. It's kind of been more of a struggle. Obviously, it was early season last year at times. Just what have you kind of seen from her approach? What does she need to do to kind of maybe right the ship a little bit more, get more of that consistency in her play?
So Alex is such a perfectionist and hates to fail. And she's getting herself out a lot in SEC competition, and she's swinging at the pitcher's pitch, not her pitch. And that's what she has to get back to. Like, they're going to throw her to her weakness, and it's okay to take those pitches and foul them off until you get a pitch that you know you can handle. And it's having that discipline and that trust and not panicking. Not just trying to put it in play, like trying to hit it as hard as you possibly can. And it's that confidence that she needs and us to support her that it's okay if you strike out. Because a perfectionist doesn't like striking out. And that's a lot of times where Alex you'll see that she'll just flip the barrel at it just to get it in play because she doesn't want to strike out.
On the flip side, Abby Hay and Stefania Abiscato are having really good starts to SEC play and just kind of what they've been able to do. What's kind of stood out to you most about the freshmen being able to produce on that stage so early in their careers?
One, I don't think that there's enough scouting out about the two of them. So that's part of it. There's 4 years of data for Alex Honnold. With Abby, I think what's really special about her is she doesn't try to do too much with the pitch. She's got great composure in the batter's box. Isn't trying to hit that 3-run home run with nobody on base. Like she'll just drive outside pitches to the right field gap. And just understands the game from an intellectual standpoint. I think it's because of her baseball background. Stefania is really learning how to let the ball get deep. She's got unbelievable bat speed. So she's not going to be overpowered because of genetically what she's able to do. Sometimes she's a little bit too quick and she's a little bit too fast out of the zone. So really just learning how to let that ball travel. But the two of them are just so highly competitive. And that's really what they bring. They bring such great energy. They're the type of players that when they're successful, everyone rises to the occasion around them because they know how hard they work and what they put in and just what they bring.
Right. I'm sure you've coached a lot of players that are a similar personality type. Is there a way to de-perfectionize somebody? Is there a way to get them off that mentality from past experiences that apply with her too?
Yeah, and it's kind of like repetition on challenging them to, and it's like in baseball and softball, you don't want to swing harder. Like that's not the point. But giving them freedom to swing and miss. So almost when they do swing and miss, celebrate that it's a good thing. And it's kind of like you're trying to trick them, but she's smart. So she's not really going to be tricked because she wants to be successful and put the ball in play. But it's just, repetition on getting more power from her lower body and feeling the ground rather than, and you can see she'll get out in front and just really throw her hands at the ball. And it's trust.
Talk about our Georgia series upcoming. Kind of what are you expecting and hoping to see the offense to kind of maybe turn the tide Sunday and kind of obviously the timing, right?
I think Saturday's performance was impressive. We really moved a hit on every single pitch that was thrown to us. We attacked it. We set up a program that we haven't had to be able to set up since we've moved back outside, since we were inside, because it takes a lot of work. But it gives us exit velocity. So those types of things and explaining to them that, if you're defensive and you just put the ball in play, your exit velocity is probably about 55 miles an hour. When you really use the ground and drive into the ground to hit, your exit velocity can be 75 miles an hour. And anyone can catch 55, especially when you have a 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing in. Like the ball's just going to stay up in the air. It's not going to go very far. So getting them to see that result, feel what that feels like, which is what we're going to do in practice today. That's the way we need to hit against Georgia, and we need to hit against everybody. And that's using the ground, really driving to hit, putting a really good swing on a good pitch, and then the ball's going to go and it's going to carry.
Is that kind of key to obviously elevating those home run numbers?
Yeah.
And just kind of turning the tide on that.
Yeah, like some of the balls, some of our, they're line drives and they look like they're good hits. They're just not hit hard enough to really carry. Because we're not really utilizing the ground as much as we should be.
Outside of the game, it's fragile season, postseason projections are not coming out. Some coaches are of the mindset that they don't want their players looking at it at all. Some coaches don't really care, especially with you all being in those brackets. Where do you stand on players' attendance postseason nowadays?
I think it's just kind of just a waste of time. I don't know if they're ever accurate. I don't try to pretend to get in the head of the NCAA selection committee. I mean, we don't seed 64. So it's really hard to figure out where anybody's going to go because we don't seed 64. We don't even seed 32. So we're in a completely different situation in our sport. I want to give us an opportunity to host. Like, that's our number one thing. You know, where we go, who we have come here, doesn't really matter to me. You know, I think we're in a really good part of the country that it's enticing to the NCAA on people can bust us. So that we have in our favor. We have an unbelievable stadium. We do a great job hosting. We've hosted before, but in terms of getting caught up, I think it's a waste of time.
Look at some of these elite teams, a lot of them are in the SEC now that you've been several weeks in the competition. What have you noticed from playing this elite level competition, especially this?
You know, and I actually looked up the RPI today. We have what, 12 out of 13 in the top 30, top 35. Yeah, and then that's extremely impressive. And you guys would probably know better than I do. I don't know if there's another sport in the SEC that is that highly competitive. Baseball is probably pretty close, but I don't know if it's all 13. It's tough. It's really, really tough. And I love the fact that it challenges me as a coach every single week. It's not like you can go into this weekend and go, you know what, we got more talent than them. It doesn't happen. We have to prepare. We have to make adjustments. We have to have the right mindset. We have to be prepared for the atmosphere. The coaches are unbelievable. They're all future Hall of Famers. So you can't expect to outcoach anybody. You have to be prepared and your players have to make adjustments. And that's really what it takes to win in the postseason. And I think that's what the SEC prepares better than anybody else in any other conference because you're playing super regional competition every single weekend. Does it burn our teams out? I don't think so. I think it just prepares us even more. And you see that our conference opponents, they have deep pitching staffs now because of that, to be able to carry that momentum into the season, in the postseason.
Coach, you talked about in the past about how later in the season that generally you see past teams having their most success. What for you would define most success with this team as you go into these next 3 weeks?
It's going to come down to our offense. I think our pitching is extremely healthy. You know, they're even talking about we need to build up our endurance, which means they're not tired. You know, that's extremely important, that they're wanting to do more. And it's kind of like I'm having to hold them back, that we still have over a month to play in our regular season, and we're going to be playing for, you know, hopefully 6, 7, 8 more weeks. You know, defensively, I think we don't anticipate that the ball is going to be hit hard at us every single time. So, you know, with tomorrow being our last midweek game, I'm really looking forward to practicing more. It's very rare that you will hear a team say that, especially at this point in the season, but I think our team is feeling that too. Like, we played a lot of games in a very short period of time. We have not practiced very much at all, especially with the amount of travel that we've been doing. So I'm really looking forward to that, to sharpening up some of our defensive skills. But it's going to come down to offense. It really is. And I still don't think that we're hitting the ball as well as we should be 1 through 9. Like, we have moments, and we have moments that it'll be the top of the lineup and then we're not getting anything from the bottom and vice versa. I've seen everybody being able to do what they need to do. When we start to put it all together at the same time, I think we're going to be really, really special to watch. I think the most impressive thing about this team is that when you look at our stats and our numbers, nothing stands out to you. Nothing at all. Like, it's actually pretty boring, but we win. And that's probably the most important thing. Like, we are winning without having the flashy numbers, because the whole energy and the focus on the team is team comes first. Winning trumps everything. So do whatever it takes in order for the team to be successful and for the team to win. And it doesn't mean someone has to go 4 for 4. It means you have to have a quality bat when the game's on the line.
Any questions from Zoom?
Yeah, Larissa, obviously I know from the beginning of the season for you guys, it's the goal to host a regional. Do you kind of feel that intensity pick up maybe a little bit at this time of the season, or do you kind of try to hone them in on just, finishing that regular season?
I mean, you definitely, with the crowd that we had this past weekend, it kind of is like, you know what, this is what it could be like in regionals. Let's continue this momentum and carry it forward and get the crowd involved so they're excited for the postseason run. But again, we don't look too far down the road. It's really focusing on what do we need to do tomorrow to continue to this momentum, and what do we need to do when we're down in Georgia. And it's just taking care of what we are capable of taking care of. But the atmosphere this past weekend literally was a regional atmosphere with the energy that we had in our stadium. We cool?
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yep.